ELISA, also known as enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, is an assay that usually uses a solid-phase enzyme immunoassay to detect the presence of a ligand, usually a protein of interest, using enzyme-linked antibodies directed towards the protein with enzyme-specific substrate addition to induce solution color change. There are three main forms of ELISA. There's direct, indirect, and sandwich ELISAs. The most basic form of ELISA is the direct ELISA, which involves a protein of interest being bound to a physical surface with its antigens, and the subsequent introduction of an antibody complementary to the antigen of the protein of interest being applied to the same surface, resulting in the formation of an antibody-protein of interest complex. The now bound protein of interest antibody will have an enzyme attached to it, and in the presence of the enzyme-specific substrate, the substrate will be catalyzed and the liquid solution surrounding the protein of interest antibody complex will undergo a visible change, indicating the protein of interest's presence. Indirect ELISA involves a primary antibody binding to the protein of interest, followed by an enzyme-linked secondary antibody specific to the primary antibody being introduced into the same solution, followed by the addition of the secondary antibody's enzyme-specific substrate and subsequent solution colored. The sandwich ELISA involves a capture antibody which is bound to the physical surface binding to the ligand, followed by an enzyme-linked detection antibody, one that detects the ligand-bound capture antibody binding to the capture antibody, followed by substrate addition and solution color change. Going from direct to indirect to sandwich ELISA methods, we see increased specificity of the antibodies available to use and the antibody complexes produced, along with increased flexibility of choosing between different antibodies to use within each method. In the same respect, we see decreased background noise, which is essentially non-specific binding of the antibodies to proteins other than the proteins of interest, and decreased speed and ease of the methods as there is increased steps going from direct to indirect to sandwich ELISA methods. Blocking buffer is commonly used in most ELISA procedures and is a solution of irrelevant proteins or other compounds that passively adsorb to all remaining binding surfaces on ELISA plates, and they help ensure that background noise or non-specific protein binding is kept to a minimum and can improve the sensitivity of an ELISA assay. Hopefully through this video you've learned the three different types of ELISA methods, along with the importance of the utilization of a blocking buffer in most ELISA procedures. Now remember in lab today, have fun! Thank you.